Once in a while, you see a board that is so amazing, affordable, looks great, sounds great, everything you would want in a budget board. Then you notice it's a 60% and you're an After Effects animator. Don't you dare take away my arrow keys. When I first saw videos and reviews of the BAKENEKO 60, I told myself, if they ever put out a 65% version of this board, I will buy it, no questions asked. And that's what I did. This board has an aluminum case, is O-ring gasket mounted, and comes in a variety of colors. I got the off-white, which is a powder-coated finish. You're also going to have the option of A stock or B stock. A stock will have better quality control and a more consistent finish. I got B stock, and it's pretty solid. You can see in my footage that the finish isn't perfectly smooth and I had a few tiny nicks, but to me it wasn't unacceptable, and you'll have to gauge that for yourself when picking it out. If you get B stock, you'll save roughly $10. The unboxing experience is great. You get a really nice case, and I really like those purple zippers. Inside the carrying case, you get a board wrapped in a nice Canon-Keys cloth, PCB, stabilizer kit, daughter board and cable, the stock O-ring, as well as any extra O-rings that you bought. Speaking of those extra O-rings, Canon-Keys offers different ones that you can buy. This will slightly influence the flex of the board and a little bit of the sound. To me, it wasn't an insane difference, but it might be worth it to you. The build was incredibly easy. All it takes is screwing in the daughter board, tuning the stabilizers, adding the plate and switches, putting on the O-ring, connecting the PCB to the daughter board, and sliding it all into the case. You can complete this build in half an hour, and there's literally only 4 screws, so super beginner friendly. Take that, GMMK Pro. Hey everybody, real quick, if you could hit that subscribe button and maybe even ring that bell, that would be so amazing. Are you done? That would be so amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much for all the support. Also, you guys, I made a Discord server. Links in the description. Come hang. As for the sound, this thing is not the board to get if you like deep, thocky sounds. It even makes my Bobo U4T sound clackier with SA keycaps. But, like I always say, higher pitched is not a bad thing. Some people really like that. I also experimented putting Noiko sound dampener in the bottom. This made the board incredibly quiet and muted. I'm willing to bet this would be a killer kit for a silent board if you put some Boba U4s in here. One issue I did have with the board is that I got a bad batch of stock stabilizers. The outer housings weren't flush with my board no matter what I did, and it caused the stabilizers to sound and feel terrible. So I ended up breaking the rules and put in some screw-in stabilizers. I put Durock V2s in the spacebar and backspace, which would be a no-no for this board, as it would cause the O-ring to not fit in the case because the screw-ins are too big where the O-ring needs to sit. So I decided to get crafty, and I ended up taking a glass nail file and filed down 2 sets of Durock V2s down to the threads. It doesn't look pretty, but it gave the O-rings just enough clearance to sit and fit into the case. I don't know if I'd recommend this, and I know there's a bunch of enthusiasts that are literally cringing at the fact that I just sawed down 2 Durock V2s, but it worked. It was a pain to do, but if you can't get the stab sounding good, this is an option, albeit a very, very scuffed option. I also ended up tape modding, which I think made the board sound better. My final configuration was screw-in stabs, tape mod, silicone weight, no foam or dampener. Here's a tiny sound test comparing a few different configurations. If you want a silent board, do the Noiko with a thin PE foam sitting on top to be a buffer between the tinfoil material of the Noiko and your PCB, and this will prevent any unwanted inputs and weirdness. Pop some silent switches in there, and you got a super silent board. If you want thock, maybe a thin piece of PE foam at the bottom, or zip and fit, plus some tape mod and the deepest switches that you can find, like ink blacks, bobas, looped CJs, etc. If you're okay with quiet thock, add the Noiko and Killmat in. But just know it's going to get muted if you do that. If you want poppy, get any medium pitched switch and add whatever mods you like. I do tape mod to get some nice reverberations shooting back up at your face.
God, these scissors are the worst.
If you want a super flexi board, don't get this one. At this point, I think a flexi board should have flex cuts in the plate and PCB. The Icky 68 Aurora set the standard for what budget flex can be. I mean, seriously, look at this. So yeah, it's not as stiff as an integrated plate, but it's definitely not flexy. Oh, and stiff is not a bad thing. Again, it's all about your preference. There's nothing wrong with preference. Even if you like clicky switches, it's preference. There's nothing wrong with that. I am really happy with this board though. It was affordable and offers a serious value, but I would say this is for a very particular person. If you liked what you heard in this video, then I say go for it. And as always, don't be a stranger.